Lighting can get tricky, especially at the start of your journey as a level designer. So it's no wonder that sometimes it's buggy or takes a while to get right. So I wanted to record this short video to maybe help out, give some tips. We'll be using this room as an example. I deleted the old lights that were in it, and instead I'll place my own. So what many of you do is grab one of these, put it like this, expand it, call it a day, and then move on. And it works. But as you can see, it results in very flat lighting. None of the 4 light sources we have here seemingly give off this light. It's just there. Everything is equally lit up and it just doesn't look right. So instead of doing this, what you can do is you can just place one light per light source. So one here, the other here. Doesn't have to be perfect for now. And then one here and one here. Now, as you can see, it looks better. These corners that are darker than everything else, this is what you want. This essentially gives you this break in lighting. For example, these 2 light bulbs, they are touching. As you can see, the radiuses are intertwining, but this section is still dark, and this is what you want. This makes the lighting in the room appear more natural, less robotic and flat. And this works for this room pretty well. However, there's one thing that you have to keep in mind, and that's the light count. The creation engine, which is basically what we're working in, allows only 4 lights to touch a mesh. A mesh is just like one of these corner pieces. This is a mesh. It can be touched by 4 lights before it starts to disable lights to make room for the limit. So for example, if I were to place more lights in here, then it might cause issues we call as flickers. To check for the flickers, you have to go to File, Preferences, Shaders, and then Number of Lights, and you will get these colors. This purple color is basically the sweet spot and the best case scenario. It essentially means that even if someone were to walk in with a handheld torch as a player, which also counts as a light source, it would not cause flickers. However, if I were to, let's say, let me disable this so I can see the light better. If I were to add one more light, then we have this pinkish red color. This is the danger zone. This means that if you were to add more lights in here, or not more, this on its own can cause flickers. And if I duplicate it again, now this is guaranteed to turn off lights and cause flickers. So these 2 colors should be avoided. This is allowed unless there is no other alternative. For example, if the room is too big, or there's a risk of there being not enough lighting, or if the rooms are stacked, like if this were multiple floors stacked one on top of another, then this is permissible, but needs to be tested properly. Let me delete this. Another way you can make the lights pop is you can grab these glow fill effects. They basically give the illusion of light coming out of let's say a candle or a sconce without actually being a light. And you can position them like so by the candle, and then when you go in here in game, this sconce pops and gives the impression of actually being lit. The correct way of setting them up is making sure they're not comically big. For this case, the scaling rule doesn't really apply, because if I were to make it 1, it would take up half the room, and not really ideal. The way to set them up is you position 1 and then you go into emittance and you select the same value as the light bulb you're using in the room. This ensures that everything aligns perfectly and there's no misalignments between lighting and the effect. Another thing to watch out for is situations like these. This light bulb is supposed to act as light source for both of these. The reason I'm not using 2 of them is precisely because of the issue I mentioned earlier, which is the number of lights. It would inflate it and make more meshes appear red or pink-ish. The way you can deal with this is you can double click on the light and then you can go into light data. What you want to focus on is the fade. Fade is essentially another word for brightness. And as you can see, for this light, 1 is the default value, but we have 2 sconces. So we can try 2. Now you can see that this is bright, but it is a bit too bright for my liking. So I can go again, and this time I can go with 1.7. Now this is much better, and this way you can avoid having to double down on the amount of lights inside a room, which is yet another problem that we encounter, where people feel like the lights are not bright enough, so instead of doing something like this, they just double it and sometimes even put them one next to another, which, as you just learned, you shouldn't do. So this is something to keep in mind as you work with lighting. It's trial and error, basically. You do it until it works and until it looks right, but these are the fundamentals that you should keep close to your heart, and hopefully it helps you with lighting in your future claims. And yeah, that's about it.